Utah, where the Utah State Aggies are 9-1 at home this season and have never lost at home to their opponents tonight, the Air Force Falcons. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Richie Schuler, I'm Eric Rothman. Happy to join you. And Richie, listen, it's been 9-1 at home for the Aggies, but really that's the only bright spot. They've lost 4 of 5, and considering where they were projected, it's been an up-and-down ride for Coach Craig Smith.
We don't know what team we're going to see for Utah State. Just when you thought they were going to get back on track, they had that 3-game losing skid. They beat Nevada, and then they had that tough loss on Saturday at Boise State, blowing that late lead.
They were the Mountain West champions last year, and coming into this year, they were picked to finish first in this conference. Obviously, everybody right now chasing the lone undefeated team in the nation, number 4 San Diego State. They started 3-4 in Mountain West play, as that's where their record stands right now. That is the same conference record as Air Force, both teams at 3-4. And actually, these two teams played 2 weeks ago in Colorado Springs, with Air Force pulling off the upset, winning 79-60.
Well, I guarantee you the message that Coach Craig Smith of Utah State has for his team is rebounding. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country as they go into Cater right away, first play of the game. But they got out-rebounded by Air Force the last time they played by 21 boards.
Which is shocking, given the Aggies, who are 14-6 on the season in the white jerseys with the blue trim. You look at the stats for them across the NCAA. They're 5th in total rebounds. They're 9th in defensive rebounds per game. Neemi Queta, who has battled injuries this season, playing in just his 9th game of the year, but he brings back an added element to, as you mentioned, the tallest team in the country that Coach Craig Smith has recruited.
Well, get this, he's only played a handful of games as a sophomore, but after his freshman year and now those few games in his sophomore year, he's already top 5 in Utah State history in blocking shots. When he is in full strength health, he is really good and really difficult to play against on both ends of the floor.
Speaking with the Aggies staff earlier today, saying this is the healthiest we've been all season. Queta's back, Bean, and reigning Mountain West Player of the Year, Sam Merrill, who have been battling lingering injuries all season long, are both feeling healthy as Merrill pulls down the rebound. He's just 5 points away from moving to number 5 all-time in scoring for Utah State. Brock Miller getting the start. A deadly three-point shooter who shoots nearly 70% of his field goals from the three-point line. Here's Queta extending his range. The first three-point attempt of the season for the big fella.
I think they called that a 2. Or did they give him
that's
3?
A shame.
Well, I tell you, Neemi Queta, he is a surefire NBA prospect. They did give him 3 points. So with him being an NBA prospect, I believe they told him in the offseason, hey, fella, you've got to be able to knock down the long ball. And it's something he's really improved on from last year to this. Thought I saw an official mark it 2, but you're right, absolutely behind the arc. I saw him shooting those in warm-ups, and I thought, man, if Queta can knock down long ball shots, the NBA is going to be foaming at the mouth.
His first three-point attempt on the season goes in. Lavelle Scotty misses the jumper, and now numbers for Utah State. 9-1 here at home, 1-4 in true road games. They have not found success away from the Smith spectrum. Back-to-back triples as Brock Miller drains it.
Well, Brock Miller is kind of the X factor. When he scores in double digits, I think they're 7-1 on the season.
Good backdoor cut. Keaton Van Solen, the junior, 6'7" from Waukee, Iowa. And you talk about going up against Utah State, who's the tallest team in the nation. Coach Dave Pilipovich for Air Force trying to find some height, putting Keaton Van Solen in the starting lineup.
Well, I tell you, one thing Air Force is excellent at is running their half-court, kind of Princeton hybrid offense with speed.
Queta gets the loose ball. They go inside to Justin Bean, who was fouled, and will go to the free throw line.
So you see on both ends a lot of activity. I was talking about Air Force's offense. It's going to be difficult for Utah State all night to guard that offense. But on this end of the floor, Utah State moving a lot too off the ball. That's how they get a goal open looks.
Craig Smith in his second year with Utah State had 28 wins last year, the most ever for a first-year head coach, earned him Mountain West Coach of the Year honors. 11-0 all-time is the school here at home against Air Force, and they have never suffered a season sweep to the Falcons, and they are trying to avoid that fate here at home tonight, and a 7-point advantage to start things off as the Air Force offense has yet to find a rhythm. Lavelle Scotty is the good guy to get a rhythm going for Air Force as a foul off the ball. The referees tonight, Randy McCall, Mike Cyphers, and Bob Staffen. Abel Porter called for the foul. There's Dave Pilipovich in his 8th season. Hasn't had a winning record since his first year when the team went 18-14. They finished 6th that year in the Mountain West. They're hovering 1 game below 500 right now at 9-10.
Well, he's got a core of seniors who vowed to turn this program around before they graduated, and they got a chance this year to get over that 500 mark. Very difficult to do at the Air Force Academy, but great kids, good basketball players, and outstanding coaching here.
Good touch pass, Queta in the corner. Abel Porter missing the 3. Good ball movement so far early on from the Aggies. Up top, Lavelle Scotty, one of those seniors for Air Force. There's 5 seniors on this Falcons squad, although they have yet to find a 3-point bucket. Now 0 for 3, 1 of 5 from the floor as a team. Here's Sam Merrill, and he can score in bunches, the reigning Mountain West Player of the Year for the Aggies. He's coming off a 30-point performance in the loss in overtime at Boise State. And the fans here not happy that that out-of-bounds call was granted to the Falcons.
Well, it was off the ball hustle foul. If you're Coach Craig Smith or any coach, you can live with that. See how he's encouraging his team because they hustled to the basketball. You can live with those fouls if people are trying to give maximum effort on the defensive end or offensive end.
Ryan Swan, what a performance he had in the Falcons' victory against the Aggies at home a couple weeks ago. 31 points, 11 rebounds. Another missed 3-point attempt, this time at the hands of Sid Tomes for the Falcons. Merrill inside the lane, might have gotten away with a walk, instead fell over, wanted a whistle, didn't get it. A.J. Walker pushing the pace, doesn't have numbers, pulls up at the free throw line, and that one rattles in for the sophomore from San Antonio.
A.J. Walker, the most athletic player on the team. You see how really good he is off the bounce? Imagine him off ball screens. When they set ball screens for Walker, he's able to create not just for himself, but for his teammates off the ball.
It's smart of him to creep inside for that jumper. He was 0 for 5 in the loss against Colorado State from 3-point range in their last game. And Nimi Queta just backing down Ryan Swan and winning the ISO battle.
And he made it look easy. Now here's the deal. The last time they played, Nimi Queta got in foul trouble very quickly at Air Force. If they can keep Queta out of foul trouble, Utah State, I mean, it's going to be really difficult for Air Force to guard him inside.
6 points already for Queta. And listen, that's been the issue as Queta picks up the foul serendipitously. We'll talk more about that, but if it hasn't been injuries, it's been foul trouble for the big man from Portugal, who is now playing in only his 9th game this season. It's an 11-4 lead as he backs down Swan and shows you what he's capable of on the offensive end.
It's beautiful. I mean, he just lulls him to sleep. Look, Swan's doing everything he can. He's got his hands straight up in the air. Air Force has elected not to double team, not to dig in from the perimeter, and that's okay. See if Swan can take him one-on-one. That foul trouble for him in the first game, I think Air Force is hoping to bank on to get him out of the game, but that's ultra competitive. Important for Queta to do that in this game. Stay out of foul trouble, but you see his comparisons from last year to this year.
Well, the only thing you don't see on there is games played, right? This is only his 9th game played this season for Utah State, averaging just 22 minutes per game, and obviously the foul trouble has been an issue when he has been in that game. You called the game that Utah State blew an 18-point lead with 4 minutes to go in their last game on the road against Boise State. And when did that happen? When Nimi Queta fouled out of the game.
And what an incredible comeback by Boise State, but you're right. In that game, Utah State actually, I mean, they were dominating Boise State for 36.5 minutes. Queta fouls out of the game, and all of a sudden, Boise State goes on an incredible run. It scored 63 points at the end of regulation in an overtime. They forced overtime almost at the buzzer, had a steal to win it from half court, and then they won the game in overtime. But you see how important it is for Queta to be on the floor. He's so good. He draws so much attention. He's an excellent passer out of the post.
Well, you know, Utah State fans are going to be happy because that last play that we thought the whistle was on Nimi Queta, he was very demonstrative, arguing the whistle with referee Randy McCall. The referee actually did not call the foul on him. The foul was on Abel Porter, his 2nd foul of the game already. We welcome you Those of you who are joining us on ESPNU, if you're in Logan, Utah, at the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum, Utah State, the Aggies are 9-1 at home on the year and have never lost a home game to their opponents tonight, the Air Force Falcons, and they're off to an 11-4 lead. Just under 5 minutes into this one, Eric Rothman alongside Richie Schuler, and we've been talking about the ball movement so far for Utah State. And Richie, it's been inside, outside. Nimi Keita, who is on the bench right now, just subbed out, has been spectacular so far with 6 points.
Outstanding, and they see Alfonso Anderson is now in the game, manning the post a little bit as well as Dorian. But it's true, and Keita is so good inside with the basketball. He's so good around the basket scoring. He can rebound the ball, but he is also an excellent passer. So you're going to see him get back in the game and make some plays for Utah State.
These two teams met just 2 weeks ago in Colorado Springs, with Air Force pulling off the 19-point upset in which they out-rebounded the Aggies by 21 and outscored them in the second half 48-26. And that's really been the issue as of late with Utah State, as they've lost 4 of their last 5, a team that was picked to finish first in the Mountain West Conference. They're 3-4 in conference right now. And frankly, Richie, over their last 5 games, they've lost 4 of 5, as the three-pointer is well off the mark for Sean Bairstow. They just haven't been able to close basketball games.
I think you're right. They had that 3-game losing skid, and then they got back on track by beating Nevada at home. Thought they were going to win 2 in a row until the last 3.5 minutes at Boise State on Saturday after that terrific comeback by the Broncos. But Utah State, they seem vulnerable right now. A little worried, not so confident as they were a year ago. They were the unanimous #1 preseason selection in the Mountain West.
Foul underneath as Lavelle Scotty, the senior from Fort Worth, Texas, was turning the corner. He will go to the free throw line. And to stick with the Utah State point, Richie, you just called their last game that was a couple nights ago at Boise State, where they had an 18-point lead with 4 minutes to go, and they ended up losing that game in overtime.
Man, Ray J. Dennis, freshman point guard for Boise State, went off. He hadn't scored all game. Hit 3 threes at the end of regulation and overtime, and finished with 19 points in that game. But you see it. We talked about it earlier. Air Force loves to backdoor. They don't run a true version of the Princeton offense, but there's a lot of principles, and they play that offense as like a hybrid with tons of speed. In their first contest in Colorado Springs, they got about 3 of these for dunks, backdoors. And they've already got 1 dunk out of it, and now they got to the foul line as a result of the backdoor as well.
Caleb Morris is at the free throw line. Misses the front end. And the Falcons, head coach Dave Pilipovich, they're 9-10 on the season. As of late, they've alternated wins and losses. They lost in their last game at home against Colorado State. And actually, in that game, the man at the free throw line, Caleb Morris, who's averaging 9 points this season and misses both free throws there. He was scoreless in 22 minutes. So finding consistent offense down the stretch for Coach Pilipovich is going to be key if they want to sweep the season series against the Aggies, something they have not done in the history of this rivalry. Ryan Swan was spectacular in the first game and gets off to a really good start with that three-pointer there. He's a 40% three-point shooter. He had 31 points, 11 rebounds at home to defeat the Aggies.
And at 6'8", you see that three-point range that you discussed. Not only did they have 31 points, he did it on 11 of 16 shooting from the field.
Bairstow driving baseline, caught underneath the hoop, and a rebound for Swan. So already we're seeing from Coach Craig Smith, the second unit, getting some meaningful minutes, just 5, 6, 7 minutes into this game. Aside from Sam Merrill, all 4 of the other guys out there with him are reserve players. Merrill is the only starter on the court right now for the Aggies, coming off that 30-point performance in the overtime loss against Boise State. Merrill, the kick out in the near corner. This is Diogo Brito. Alfonso Anderson, the offensive rebound and the reverse lay-in. Second chance points for the Aggies.
He's 10 points a game. This Utah State team has 5 players that average double figures. Alfonso Anderson, early in the season, Jamaican Classic, outstanding, over 21 points a game, 6 boards per contest in that tournament.
Air Force just 3 of 11 from the floor to start this ball game. They kick it out to Swan yet again. And Merrill climbing up for the rebound. Merrill has yet to score a point for the Aggies, but he does have his 3rd rebound of the game and then is battered driving into the lane on that possession.
Well, that's what's great about Sam Merrill. You say he hasn't scored a bucket yet, but Coach Smith will tell you he's a better passer than he is a shooter. He's a pass-first guy. And early in the season, Coach Smith was saying, hey, I hope that he doesn't have to score as many points this year. I hope that we have a little more balance. but he is a tremendous scorer, as you say.
You like these quick substitutions that Coach Smith is employing here in the early going for the Aggies?
I do. I think only a coach knows his team, right? And so he knows when his players are fatigued and when they need to come out of the game. And he might try to get some of those guys right back in after the timeout. You got the under-12 timeout coming here pretty soon. Oftentimes with guys that you want to get back in the game, you take them out shortly before the timeout occurs, get them some extra rest, because the timeout's, 2 minutes long, so they get even more rest then, and then you plug them back into the game.
Well, they bring in 3 starters, Bean, Keita, and Miller, who were on the bench for about 2.5 minutes of game time. This is Justin Bean, one of only 2 players in the Mountain West to average a double-double this season. A former walk-on, a fantastic story as he fights for his own rebound and gets the second chance effort to go.
He is all energy all the time. He is outstanding, especially around the basket, loose balls, rebounds.
Mid-range jumper, not there. Emeka Akaya, who has been battling injuries this season, a junior from Haverstown, Maryland. Go inside to Keita, who's already got those 6 points. He's got a mismatch. And Keita takes advantage. Goes right up against Emeka Akaya and wins the battle. Keita, 8 points on 3 of 3 shooting, and then good rim protection on the defensive end, although he went down hard and he's slow to get up behind the play. Diogo Brito, kick out. Brock Miller in the corner. Keita seems to be okay, although he elected not to run down the court. He's been standing back in the defensive area waiting for his teammates to come back the other way.
Well, that'll kill your transition offense real quick, won't it?
Have that big tower standing in the way.
Exactly. Shot blocker.
Tried to go up for the block shot there. Lavelle Scotty, the senior, gets around him.
So that's 2 straight possessions that Air Force has challenged him. They scored on that one, but the previous play, Akaya missed a shot because I think he was trying to get it over the long arms of Keita. He might not block all the shots, but he'll change shots.
Set a school record, 84 blocks last season en route to Defensive Player of the Year in the conference.
Man, Brock Miller has just struggled from outside as of late, but he is an excellent shooter. When Brock Miller is going, Utah State is balanced, especially with Keita down inside making noise.
Miller has 10 points per game as his average, and 70% of his field goal attempts come from 3-point range. Brito drives inside. Keita flying in for the offensive rebound. Out of bounds. Air Force basketball.
Well, we know how a force Nimi Keita is. He already hit a 3-point shot at one time. Now you see him lulling his defender to sleep. Last time he spun on that. This time he's showing his hook range.
We've all been waiting for. Zion Williams makes his long-awaited and much-anticipated NBA debut for the Pelicans. But first, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and the Raptors host the 76ers in a really good Eastern Conference matchup. That's at 7 Eastern. Then it's Zion time with the Pelicans taking on the Spurs at 9:30 Eastern. Both games on ESPN and the ESPN app. Can't wait, Richie. I'm ready to see Zion in a Pelicans uniform.
I'm excited. I mean, he played well in in the preseason. Played really well. But let's say Zion comes in, averages a double-double, 20 and 10. Let's just say that happens. Ja Morant or Zion Williamson or somebody else for Rookie of the Year.
I just think too much time has gone by for Zion.
Yeah.
Ja has been really
He's
good.
Outstanding. My good buddies at Murray State coached him. Matt McMahon, Tim Kaine.
Trip foul as Sean Brown was making his way into the lane for Air Force.
Well, Air Force is always very patient on offense. They move the ball from side to side. They get ball reversals. They loosen the defense. They look to drive, and it's up to Utah State to stop those drives, keep them out of the paint, because they get layups at times. Oftentimes they get dunks down the middle, but they also get kick-out threes, and they're an excellent, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country.
However, they are just 1 for 6 from three-point range so far in this one. They are 10th in the nation in three-point field goal percentage, just under 40% on the year. Lavelle Scotty, coming off his first bucket of the game, goes right back at it, back-to-back for Scotty, who started the game 0 for 6, has 2 in a row.
And he's been their most consistent player throughout the course of the season. He's got to get on board. I like how he took it right to Justin Bean.
Scotty, one of 5 seniors for head coach Dave Pilipovich, recently getting their Air Force assignments for postgraduate work. They haven't found their locations yet, but they do know what roles they will be once they find a home base. And they will be graduating as second lieutenants from the Air Force Academy. 2 on the shot clock. Brock Miller has to let it go.
Good defense by Air Force. Kept the ball outside the 3 pretty much for the entire possession. And Scotty down inside, begging for the ball, demanding it. All good post players have to demand the basketball to get it.
That was just an awkward shot. Couldn't tell if Justin Bean got a fingertip on it or not, but Lavelle Scotty comes up short on that 3-point attempt.
I just don't think he was balanced.
Bean with a little hitch on that 3-point shot, but he is able to get it to go down pretty consistently. Although from 3-point range, not so much, 3 for 13, but he is a 51% field goal shooter on the season.
You know, Coach Smith has talked about his work ethic, and his 3-point shot has really developed, but he's just 1 of 4 in the last 2 games now from behind the arc.
Porter stole it, was walking the tightrope on the baseline and finding nobody to pass it to.
You know, in those situations, you would rather a player just burn a timeout rather than turn the basketball over. At least I would. I mean, it's a great defensive possession. He played great help side. He got stuck jumping. That's part of the problem right there. The old jump pass usually ends up leading to a turnover. Abel Porter is, I mean, he is a very good player, a very headsy player, point guard, does a lot of good things, but I don't think that play was one of his best.
And so Porter getting a drink of water as there's some cleanup that needs to be done on the court. Utah State is 0 for their last 5 on the offensive end. 340 drought for the Aggies, allowing Air Force to creep back in, at least attempt to. They're still down by 6, but Air Force shooting just 5 of 18 from the floor. And go back to that first matchup. You and I called the game 2 weeks ago at Colorado Springs. And it was a really interesting game because Utah State really dominated the first half, for most of the first half leading by double figures. And then the final 2 possessions right before the half, the Falcons hit back-to-back 3-pointers to go into the half down by 5. And that seemed to really shift the entire game. The Falcons come out in the second half and outscore Utah State 48-26 and a 19-point victory.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing. Utah State took care of the basketball okay. You know, not great. Only had 9 turnovers. They shot the ball from the 3 pretty solid, about 36%, but they only shot from the field about 36% as well. And Air Force was just playing out of their mind. And like I said, the name of the game there was their plus 21 on the boards. Who does that? Going into that game, Utah State was 2nd in the country in total rebounds, 2nd in the nation, 350 Division I teams, and they got out-rebounded by Air Force by 21.
Cleanup crew still taking care of the court. And not only that, you talk about the out-rebounding that the Falcons had in that performance, but how about the lack of the Aggies' ability to get to the free throw line? They are one of the best teams in the country in terms of getting to the free throw line. They're 3rd in total free throws made. In the loss at Air Force, they were just 4 of 8 total from the free throw line. Just weren't getting the calls and couldn't get a rhythm in that second half. Well, Sam Merrill was a big part of that because his ability to drive to the lane, draw whistles, get to the free throw line, get defenses off balance, he wasn't able to do that in that second half, and then Nimi Keita fouled out, and that was kind of the end of it. Lavelle Scotty finding a home at the free throw line.
Well, he's not in the game right now, but you discussed that. Well, he is actually. Sid Tomes. Look at Sid Tomes, number 3 in blue, guarding number 5, Sam Merrill. He guarded Sam Merrill in the second half of that first contest and held him scoreless. Big part of the reason Utah State didn't win that game.
Tomes drawing the offensive foul against Abel Porter, and Porter, that's now his 3rd personal. Air Force trailing by 4, drawing the offensive foul, trying to come back on the Aggies. Sid Tomes for Air Force drawing the charge right before the break. It's Falcons basketball down by 4. And Richie, we were talking about his defensive prowess, but you look at it already tonight. He guards the best guys that the Falcons go up against. Sam Merrill for the Aggies, the reigning Mountain West Player of the Year. He's got 0 points in this game so far.
Well, he's been the kryptonite for Sam Merrill. Second half, the first time they played, held him scoreless. And then tonight, He's held Sam Merrill at 0 for 3 from the field. Merrill's a 17-point-per-game player, and he shoots about 5 free throws a game. He had 17 free throws in the game against Montana State earlier in the year, had 0 free throws in the last time they played.
Falcons have yet to lead in this game. Trailed by as many as 10. Here's Tome splitting the defense with 1 on the shot clock. Brito comes down with the rebound. Brock Miller transition 3, too strong.
Miller getting such great looks. Coach Smith trying to instill confidence in him. The whole coaching staff. He's a volume shooter. He's 1 of 4 right now, 1 of 5.
Miller in this game so far, 1 of 5 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. And Richie, I don't see, oh, never mind. I was going to say, I don't see Nimi Keita. Well, there he is. He's been out of the game for quite some time. Just checked back in during that timeout. Keita, who started off this game so solidly, 8 points and 3 of 3 shooting. Got some rest on the bench as the ball out of bounds will stay with the Aggies.
Neither one of these teams really shooting the basketball well at all. It's a defensive battle. Must be the late tip.
Everybody's a little sleepy.
That looked like it went off Chris Joyce of Air Force. Should stay here.
Utah State 26% from the floor. Air Force 28%. 4-point advantage for Utah State. And it just kind of seems like Air Force is one of those matchup problems for the Aggies that they really haven't been able to figure out.
I think it's one of those teams that plays so well together. They play with cadence and rhythm. And, you know, their stuff is hard to guard. I mean, they play versions of the Princeton offense. That offense is designed to take you out of your defensive principles. And a lot of teams have a difficult challenge with it.
5 on the shot clock from Merrill, who's still scoreless. Here's Brock Miller, squares up and drains the 3.
That's great for Brock Miller's confidence. And he has a short memory. He keeps shooting them.
Justin Bean fronting the entry pass. Miller in transition. And Aggies will retain possession. As Utah State now just 3 of 12 from 3, but Miller's got 2 of those 3. Diogo Brito comes out. Sean Bairstow back into the game for Utah State.
One reason Utah State feels comfortable taking these 3-point shots is look who you got underneath. Right there, Keita with the basketball, and Justin Bean, who's a double-double guy. So you got 2 guys can get you a lot of offensive boards on those long shots.
They feed Keita, good drop step, and a foul underneath. Oh no, referee Mike Cyphers comes over and overrules Randy McCall, says it was a travel on Nimi Keita. And now Craig Smith is gonna get teed up.
He's hot. He might have a valid point. We've got to take a look at this replay to see, but I like Craig Smith feistiness. His team's lost 4 of 5. He's trying to instill confidence in his players. Here it is right here. What's the call on the floor, Eric? I thought it was a foul on the way up.
You had both referees signaling for a whistle. Randy McCall, who was the baseline referee, seemingly who had the better view, was going to whistle a foul on Air Force. Mike Cyphers, who was at the 3-point line on the far side, came over to run in and overrule McCall and deemed it a travel on Nimi Keita, and Craig Smith immediately teed up for arguing the call.
Well, you got some referees that are looking for contact. You have another referee, Mike Cyphers, looking at the footwork. I didn't get a close enough look at it to confirm, but Mike Cyphers does a great job.
Ryan Swan slips inside. He's got 5 points now for Air Force, who's within 3, and that could be a big turning point in this game. We'll keep an eye. 5:49 was when the technical on Craig Smith occurred. Nimi Keita, that's twice he's backed down Ryan Swan in a one-on-one situation.
And if he doesn't do that, if they take away that little hook shot, he's going to drop step into a slide dribble, spinning the other direction. He did that in his first field goal of the game.
Scotty to his left, blows by Keita. Keita recovers for the rejection.
I think he would have been better off just trying to finish with his left.
Keita inside, And a foul underneath as Queta topples over Ryan Swan. I believe Swan is the one who will be called for the personal inside the restricted area.
Well, here's the block shot. Little Scotty would have been better off just going up strong with his left. His hesitation allowed Queta to catch up and block the shot. She had two guys there capable of blocking the shot there and available.
Queta's had a heck of a game on the offensive end. He's at the free throw line now, 10 points on 4 of 4 shooting. His 6th double-figure game of the season, and this is just the 9th game he's played. So he's been efficient when he's been on the floor, and that's been the issue. Whether it's been injury or foul trouble, keeping Nimi Queta on the floor this season has been a problem as the Aggies turn it over.
Well, you're right. I mean, Queta didn't even play half the game the first time they played, and he was frustrated. This is the best I've seen Queta play yet. I mean, when he started playing games about a month ago, he was in preseason shape. Injured his knee in the summer, playing in a FIBA tournament, re-injured it later on after playing a couple of games. And he's just now looking like he's starting to be in early part of season shape. He looks good.
Air Force, who's 10th in the nation in three-point field goal percentage, just under 40% on the year, is just 1 of 8 as a team here in the first half. Queta, awkward shot. Bean and Miller fighting for it. And a held ball is called. Possession arrow in favor of Air Force. And again, one of those hustle plays that doesn't go in favor of the Aggies.
We'll take a peek at it. Queta kind of hot-stoved it, got rid of it quick. And loose ball. You got to appreciate the hustle. No matter the call on the floor, Craig Smith is cheering on his team, trying to keep them encouraged. They're in a very fragile state right now, having lost 4 of 5. And I think that's a good call by the official. Walker lowered his shoulder on Sam Merrill.
The Aggies 22-2 at home under Craig Smith. They won 28 games in his first year as head coach last year. You see the offensive foul called on A.J. Walker. The push-off, Sam Merrill took the charge.
Anytime you lower your shoulder and you enter the cylinder, even the defensive cylinder, the imaginary cylinder around the defender, and establish contact, that's going to be a foul.
Merrill getting it done on the defensive end, but he is still scoreless. Averaging 18 points per game this season, coming off a 30-point performance in the overtime loss at Boise State. Ball fake. Queta tried to put it on the floor. Swan got in the middle of that.
Queta would have been better off if he just kept going straight. He tried to cross over.
Be 6 on the shot clock for Utah State. Just under 4 minutes to play here in the first when we return as the Aggies are up by 5. Welcome back to Super Tuesday, presented by Progressive, the home team. The Utah State Aggies on top 22-17 against Air Force. And Richie, with 3:44 to go here in the first half, you have said that this is the best half you have seen from Nimi Queta all season. Why?
Well, if you remember him from last year, he wasn't this big and strong. He's 25 pounds stronger. As you see there, he's improved his range of a shot, and he's light on his feet. Even though he has all that strength, look, he's got a counter move. He either goes hook shot or he goes a slide dribble to the baseline. But even though he's heavier, he looks lighter. His fast twitch muscles seem to be in more play now. You didn't see that a couple of weeks ago. When they played at Force, he looked very slow off the ground.
Well, I think the key word is healthy. He is healthy for the first time this season. Playing in just his 9th game this year, he's averaging 22 minutes per game because of those injuries, because of foul trouble. Really efficient game so far. 4 of 5 shooting for Queta with 10 points and no fouls. That's the big one.
That's huge. You keep Nimi Queta out of foul trouble, he's going to win you some basketball games. Now, Craig Smith has subbed him out 2-3 times because he's still working on his wind, right? You're going to have to sub him out at some point anyway, but I think he's still kind of working him in so that down the stretch of season, he is prepared going into conference tournament play in tip-top shape.
Saturday, we'll have 3 of the best Big 12 SEC Challenge games on ESPN and the ESPN app. Number 3, Kansas hosts Tennessee at the Phog at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. Then Coach Cal at number 15, Kentucky take on number 18, Texas Tech. That's in Lubbock at 8. And then number 1, Baylor is in Gainesville squaring off against Florida. Richie, what do you think? Baylor jumping over Gonzaga and the Zags didn't lose.
No. Is that fair?
They beat Santa Clara by 50.
So are they... people are saying they're a victim of their schedule.
I guess.
But you look at some of the rankings, Gonzaga is pretty good in the net ranking and all those other ones. You know what I mean?
Wins against North Carolina, Oregon.
I know. But Scott Drew does have himself a squad.
I think he's still got to keep the Zags #1. Brito from 3, one of 2 Portuguese players on the team, both him and Keita hailing from that country. And both with 3-pointers in this game. Must be something in the air. Keita had his first 3-point shot attempt of the season go in, and Brito is only a 25% 3-point shooter this season. He gets his first attempt to go in. Swan missing, Van Solen the offensive rebound. And it'll either be Merrill or Bean. It's Merrill called for the personal.
Merrill. Well, it's good to see Brito get off on that 3-point shot. He's been playing that deeper 3. As we all know, the 3-point line has gone back to the FIBA, the International Basketball Federation 3-pointer. And, you know, those who played in Portugal or in Europe, used to that 3-point line. Brito's been playing that since he was 12.
And Solen misses the front end. Air Force 27% from the floor, just 1 of 10 from 3. The offense has been stagnant. They trail by 10, 2.5 minutes to go here in the first half. Bairstow, good defense by Ryan Swan.
It was strong defensive possession.
Let's see if the Falcons can turn it into offense. Pull-up jumper, lips out. A.J. Walker can't find a home for that one.
The Air Force has been good in that transition D. The last possession, they had 3 blue jerseys waiting to take away the easy layup. And Utah State has to work for everything in the half court and in the full court.
And Merrill still searching for his first bucket of the game. Under 2 minutes to go in the half is Sid Tomes, who has been the defensive stalwart guarding Merrill all game, is called for the foul.
Now, if you're a Utah State fan, you're happy to see Sam Merrill at the free throw line. Almost 90%. And he's hit a lot of free throws. I told you about that 17 free throw game at versus Montana State. He gets to the line.
Well, this team gets to a line. They're 7th in the nation in free throw attempts, 3rd in free throws made. They're 5 of 6 from the charity stripe in this one. As Merrill gets his first point of the game, it's an 8-0 run for Utah State, and the Air Force drought continues. As you take a look at the free throw line stats for both of these teams, Air Force and Utah State both get to the line very frequently. The Falcons, really the difference so far is they have been a 3-point shooting team on the season, just under 40% as a squad. They're 1 of 10 from that distance tonight.
Well, that's really hurting them right now. And Coach Pilipovich has the Air Force Falcons in position to score, but players got to knock them down.
They haven't scored in 4 minutes. They go inside to the big man Swan, who had 31 points, 11 rebounds 2 weeks ago when these two teams met. Swan's got 5 points on 2 of 6 shooting here tonight. 3 to shoot. Walker somehow gets around Alfonso Anderson. The circus move for Walker.
Well, an area that they talked about last year was he's a great driver but needs to improve finishing. I think he's done that. I've seen them do that numerous times in a few games this year.
Check and check. Merrill still hasn't got a field goal to drop in this game, but he'll go back to the free throw line.
If you're not scoring from the field, find other ways to help your team. Merrill makes plays. He does a good job in the defensive end. And now in back-to-back possessions, he gets to the free throw line. Not just gives his teammates a break to relax for a moment to play harder on the defensive end, but you get points without the clock moving.
He's also got 4 rebounds as well. He's taken a charge on the defensive end. And Merrill is the reigning Mountain West Player of the Year, picked to be the Mountain West Player of the Year again this year in the preseason, averaging 18 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And the games that we have called of Sam Merrill and watching him over the years, absolutely no fear. The guy will go anywhere on the court and do whatever you ask of him offensively and defensively.
You talked about that 30-point game he just came off of. He is finally healthy after battling some ankle injuries this year. Had about a week off to heal before the Boise State game on Saturday.
Swan hesitated midair, and Ryan Swan with his 7th point leading all scorers for Air Force. Quickly back the other way, Justin Bean beating all the Falcons down the floor. Bean has 8 points, 4 rebounds in this ball game. He's averaging a double-double on the season. Not the shot that Chris Joyce wanted as Alfonso Anderson came over to make the disruption. And Utah State has really dominated here in the first half. They're 37-5 under head coach Craig Smith when leading at the half. However, one of those 5 losses was 2 weeks ago at Air Force when they got outscored in the second half 48-26 by the Falcons to lose that game. Merrill missing the 3. 2 seconds to go in the half. Morris from half court over the backboard, and that kind of sums up how the shooting has gone for the Falcons in this first half. Just 9 of 31 from the floor, 1 of 10 from 3, and they trail by 11 here on the road to Utah State. The Aggies led by their big man, Nimi Keita. Double figures scoring. He's looking healthy and looking spry as the Aggies looking for a road win. They're up by 11 here at home against Air Force.